So, good morning, students, in today's class. And today we will continue with the discussion of the chapter 2, that is biological classification. In biological classification, kingdom Monera we have discussed. We have discussed the 2 kingdom system classification, then the 5 kingdom system classification also. The introductory part we have done. And now we are discussing the kingdom Protista. Yesterday we discussed kingdom Protista, the chrysophytes. And today we will be discussing with the dinoflagellates. Okay, we will be discussing with the dinoflagellates. Now, dinoflagellates, they are mostly marine and photosynthetic. They appear yellow, brown, blue, or red depending on the main pigments. You can see, student, in the image also, the slide which I have shared with you all. In that you can clearly see the cell wall has stiff cellulose plate on the outer surface. Now, the most important thing is that what is the unique feature of this dinoflagellate? There is a dinoflagellate, and the name of the dinoflagellate is Goniolax. You see, the name of this dinoflagellate is Goniolax. Okay, and this dinoflagellate, they undergo rapid multiplication. And on undergoing rapid multiplication, when they are present in the sea, this is a sea, okay, and along the tide, the whole tide appears red. So that is why this is called red tide. So what are the features of the dinoflagellates? The dinoflagellates, they have 2 flagella and they undergo rapid multiplication, and they are marine and photosynthetic because different photosynthetic pigments are present in the dinoflagellates. And what is the most important peculiar feature of this? The most important peculiar feature of this is that when they appear with the tide, the tide appears to be the red in color, and that is why it is called the red tide. Okay, is it clear to all? The dinoflagellate is clear to all? Dinoflagellates is clear to all? That why do and how do the dinoflagellates or the red tide appears, and what are the special feature for this? Okay, fine. Okay. Now the next part. Just once, let me check the student list. Okay. Just a moment. Now, the next, after the dinoflagellate, under kingdom Protista, the third group, that is euglenoids, mainly freshwater organism found in stagnant water. Instead of the cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer called pellicle. So, under kingdom Protista, the third group we are going to study. From the name itself, euglenoids, automatically one example will come in your mind, and that will be of euglena. Now, they are freshwater organism and they do not have the cell wall, but instead of the cell wall, you see protein-rich layer is there, which is called pellicle. And what is the function of this pellicle? It gives flexibility to the body. And they have 2 flagella, a short and a long one. Okay. So this is the case with the euglenoids. What is the function of the, once again, what is the function of the pellicle? The pellicle gives flexibility to the body. That means the euglenoid, the euglena, suppose they are showing the movement, so that flexibility is provided by the protein-rich layer, that is a pellicle. Even they are photosynthetic because in presence of the sunlight, they can manufacture the food. And in absence of the sunlight, they behave like heterotrophs by predating on other organisms. Now, the pigments are identical to those of the higher plants. That is, when we are saying they are photosynthetic, definitely the pigments are identical to those of the higher plant. That is, the chlorophyll pigments are there. Example, euglena already we have discussed. The next group under the kingdom Protista comes of the slime molds. They are saprophytic protists. Students, can you tell me what do you mean by saprophytes? What do we mean by saprophytes? Anyone? Just raise your hand. Saprophyte. Saprophyte. What do you mean by this saprophyte? Okay, Shweta. Always I have seen Shweta actively respond very quickly. Good. Shweta, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Saprophytic who feed on dead and decaying matter.
yes, the saprophytes are those organisms that feed on the dead and decaying product, correct? So these slime molds, under the kingdom Protista, they are saprophytes, definitely. The body move along decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. Under suitable conditions, they form an aggregation called plasmodium. Full stop. It may spread over several feet. That means under the suitable conditions, they form an aggregation called the plasmodium. See, you can see this aggregation. They are the plasmodium, and they may spread over the several feet. So this is an example of the slime mold. Now, under the favorable conditions, that is when the condition is not favorable, under unfavorable condition, this plasmodium differentiate and form fruiting bodies that bear spores. You can see here in this image which I have shared with you all. Here you can see the fruiting bodies are there. The fruiting bodies are there. Okay. And these fruiting bodies bear spores at their tips. And spores have true walls. They are highly resistant and survive for many years. Spores are dispersed by the air current. Okay. So this is with the case of the slime molds. Is a slime mold euglenoids clear to all? Slime mold euglenoid is clear to all? Okay, fine. Next group of the, now we are moving to the next group. That is, just a, the next group under kingdom Protista is of the protozoan. Protozoan. And protozoans are heterotrophs. That is, they are predators or the parasites, and they are primitive relatives of animal. Now, four group of the protozoans are there. First, amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated, and sporozoan. Now, one by one, we will see in detail what are these. Automatically, when it comes, the word comes amoeboid protozoan, then definitely it comes in the mind amoeboid protozoan, that is amoeba. They live in fresh water, sea water, or moist soil. They move and capture prey by putting out pseudopodia, that is a false feed. Example, amoeba. Marine form have silica shells on their surface. Some are parasites also, like Inta-amoeba. Okay, Inta-amoeba histolytica is the causative agent of causing the amoebic dysentery. And that is why we are saying them to be the parasites. Okay, they live in the intestine and they causes the, when contaminated, the body gets infected. That time it leads to amoebic dysentery. The next group is the flagellated protozoan. From the word flagellated protozoan, automatically it comes in our mind, that is the presence of the flagella. Presence of the flagella. One example of the flagellated protozoan is a trypanosoma. This trypanosoma causes disease like sleeping sickness. Okay, they cause the disease like sleeping sickness, and this is a structure for the flagellated protozoan, that is a trypanosoma. Just a minute. Yes. Next slide, we will discuss about the ciliated protozoan. The ciliated protozoan, they are aquatic, actively move using cilia. They have a cavity called the gullet that open to outside. Due to the movement of the cilia, water with food enter into the gullet. Example, the paramecium. The best example is, student, if you can recall the example, then automatically the name will come in your mind. If you see this structure, this is a microscopic view of the paramecium. On the outer side of the paramecium, cilia are there and they help in the movement, or we can say lashing movement. So this is a ciliated protozoan. Ciliated means presence of cilia, and flagellated means presence of flagella. The next group is the protozoans. Very, very important. Student, have you heard about malaria? You must have heard. Being a biology student, it's not like that you have not heard. I'm sure you must have heard. Have you heard about malaria? Have you heard about malaria, students? Okay, Shweta said yes. Shweta, what is malaria? Can unmute yourself. What is malaria, Shweta?
Sir, malaria is a disease caused by a female Anopheles mosquito, Plasmodium.
See, here I would like to correct one thing, Shweta. Whenever we will say malaria, remember female Anopheles mosquito is the carrier or the transmitter of the malaria, but the causative organism is the protozoan. The causative organism is a protozoan, and the name of that protozoan is Plasmodium. So this enters into the body of the female Anopheles mosquito, and when the female Anopheles mosquito bite the human, we got infected. So if someone asks you that what is a causative agent of malaria, so you will say Plasmodium is a causative agent of malaria, and female Anopheles mosquito is the transmitter, okay, the carrier. Is it clear, Shweta? And all students, is it clear? So this is also an example of the protozoan. Okay. Okay. Now, so student, we have completed the second kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. After this, we will come to the next kingdom, that is kingdom Fungi. Student, if we are saying the word fungi, which special character comes in your mind if you are talking about the word fungi? If you are saying or talking about the word fungi, which feature or character comes in your mind automatically? Tell me. Fungi. Any feature of the fungi you know? Okay. Very good, Shweta. Saprophytic. Okay, good. Saprophytic, feeding on the dead and decaying organism. You can see, student, a number of image which will give you a clear picture of what is fungi. A white spot on the mustard leaf. Then the best one, mushroom. Then bread mold. These two image, one of the mushroom and the other of the bread mold, they gives us more and more clear picture of what the fungi, or we can say what the main part or what the main feature of the kingdom fungi. That is, in recalling, it will help you to recall the kingdom fungi. The two examples are very much we can say applicative. Unique kingdom of heterotrophic organism. They are cosmopolitan, present everywhere. They grow in warm and the humid places. Example, bread mold, mushrooms, toadstools, orange, rots, white spots on the mustard. Some fungi are the source of the antibiotic, that is penicillium. Now, student, remember this is very, very important, as because this is the first drug, that is the antibiotic, which was discovered from the species Penicillium notatum. So the antibiotic which was discovered is penicillin, and the organism is Penicillium notatum. Some are unicellular fungi like the yeast, Some fungi causes disease in the plants and the animals. Example, the wheat rust causing Puccinia. Except yeast, the fungi are filamentous. Their body consists of long, slender, thread-like structures called hyphae. The network of the hyphae. Now, student, here I would like to recall one thing. This structure of the fungi is very important. Why? You see, the fungi has the thread-like structures. Each thread is called hyphae, and the group of hyphae is called mycelium. Sometimes the hyphae, you can see, sometimes the hyphae have the septa. You see, this is a septa. Septa means division. So that type of hyphae is called the septate hyphae, while there are some hyphae which is called the cenocytic hyphae, where you can see there is a no septa or the septum, and septum is absent and the hyphae is continuous. So what is a hyphae? The hyphae are the thread-like structures. The group of the hyphae is called mycelium, and there are two types of hyphae. One is the cenocytic hyphae. That means with the cenocytic hyphae, you can say septate also, because they are with septa, division, and one is the septate, that means with division, and one is the aseptate, that is a cenocytic without division. So ultimately, you are seeing that the type of hyphae is there. Now, most fungi are saprophytes, some are parasites, and some also live in mutual relationship, like living. What is mutual relationship? It's need to be get clarified. This is another very significant term. Student, there is an organism called lichen. What is lichen? Lichen is a symbiotic association between fungi and algae. The fungi provide shelter, and the algae prepare food for the fungi. So they both are living together in the mutual benefit. That is one example of the fungi which is living as a symbiome. Now, the reproduction for the fungi. The fungi have three types of the reproduction: vegetative, asexual, and sexual. Vegetative reproduction are of three types: fragmentation, fission, budding. Fragmentation, where the filament the thread cuts, and each thread develops into the new organism. Fission, one organism divides to form number. It can be a multiple or it can be binary also. Budding, a bud develops as an outgrowth and which detaches from the main body and grow as an individual organism. And the next is the asexual spores, that is conidia, sporangiospore, zoospore. Remember, student, the spores are the most important part of the fungi. Why? Because the spores have the different shapes that we will do in. Yes, let me show you with this. Let me show you with the help of this image. This is fragmentation. Filaments are breaking. Fission in yeast, breaking into two. Budding in yeast. In class 10 also you have seen this image or the diagrams. Now, see student, the spores are very, very important. Okay, the spores are very, very important. Spores are the asexual reproductive unit. Depending on the structure, there are different type of the spores. Like these are zoospores. Okay, these are zoospores. The structure of the zoospore is like this. That means like this, the structure of the zoospores are there with like this, the flagella will be there. Okay. Next, you see sexual reproduction is by, okay, one thing. Today, I will limit my discussion with the asexual reproduction, because sexual reproduction, a separate phase has to be done with this. Now you tell me till this, anyone having any doubts? Anyone having any doubt till this? We started with the kingdom protista, the dinoflagellates, and then we did the kingdom fungi. Once again, in fragmentation, we can see the filaments break and form the new filament. In fission, first the nucleus divide. The division of the nucleus is called karyokinesis, and then the division of the cytoplasm, that is cytokinesis. In budding, in yeast, the bud develops as an outgrowth from the main body and later on grows into as a new organism. Okay. Tell me, student, anyone having any doubts, anywhere any confusion lies? Anyone having any doubts, you can ask. Anyone having any doubt? Okay, then let me randomly ask you questions. Randomly ask you question. Yes, students. What do you mean by diatomaceous earth? Who will answer? I told you yesterday also, this is very, very important, diatomaceous earth. It's very, very important, diatomaceous earth. What is diatomaceous earth, student? Anyone? Diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth. Okay, fine. No one. So I repeat, diatoms, they have two shells. In the shell, silica is present, and the cell. Okay, Shweta raised her hand. Okay, Shweta, try. Yes, Shweta, unmute yourself. Yes, Shweta, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
Shweta.
in cryophyte, the cell wall is made up of silica, and they do not break or decompose and remain in its form
Yes,
for
they decompose, and that is used
so
for
many years.
polishing. Okay, Shweta, correct. Okay, students, our class is about to end. The time is up. Okay, so I will send you the today's class notes. And again, in our next class, we will continue with it. Thank you, student. Thank you all.